Stress-Free Cooking is brought to you by... From the sunny Mediterranean comes one of the world's finest olive oils for all your cooking needs. Pompeian extra virgin olive oil, classic Mediterranean, and extra light tasting. Pompeian makes everything better. From our table to yours, O-Pee-Chee Wines, fine wines and spirits from around the world since 1913. Cutco, the world's finest cutlery. Melissa's, the freshest ideas in produce. And Sub-Zero Wolf Appliances.
Hi, I'm Barbara Seelig Brown. Welcome to Stress-Free Cooking. Today I have a great show planned for you. I'm very honored to have two very special guests. We're going to be talking about stocking the Italian pantry in your home. So I've invited Agnello Musella, the Italian Trade Commissioner for the United States, to visit me today. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. And I have Lou DiPaolo of DiPaolo Fine Foods in New York City, and Lou is a regular guest, and everyone always loves when you visit Lou, especially me. So welcome,
thank you,
and
Barbara.
thank you.
And Dr. Musella, it's a pleasure to be here with you as well today.
My pleasure too.
Well, before we get started, I think we should have a little toast, because you know on Stress-Free Cooking we like to put on our bunny slippers, pour a glass of wine, and cook a great meal. Although today, we are not actually cooking, we are learning about how to stock our kitchen so that we can do some great Italian cooking at home. So I'd like to pour a little Prosecco, and it's sparkling wine from the Veneto, which I love. And as my husband used to say, the Venetians drink this by the gallon, and we like to pretend we're Venetian.
Very good.
So
well, the Prosecco grape is the type of grape used for making this, and it's done in what we call the Chaumette method, where the carbonation is actually induced. So you can get a great sparkling wine at a very reasonable price.
the cost is really
very reasonable.
So cheers. Thank
Cheers.
you both for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, my pleasure. It's really good.
So Agnello, do you love this display that Lou brought for us?
Well, it's amazing. I think that I can see Italy and different region.
Each region, yes.
So many products, and each product from a different area. And this is, I think, what makes Italy special and unique. The diversity of products. And you have Campania, you have Basilicata, you have Alto Adige, and many others. And that's why I say, I mean, looking at this table, I mean, I see the regions of Italy.
I agree with you, really. And it brings me back to some of the many trips I've taken to Italy. And you can identify and reflect back on the area just by looking at the products. For instance, the prosciutto, we know that is from the north.
Sure. Well, this is from the north central part of Italy. This is the Prosciutto di Parma. It's produced in the area of Langhirano. And Prosciutto di Parma, you know, has a history for many years, but what makes it so special is the rolling hills of the suburb of Parma. These country breezes flow through it, and as this prosciutto is cured, it picks up that unique characteristic of those country breezes. And you know, I also brought the prosciutto San Daniele. San Daniele, from the area of Friuli, the region of Friuli, Venezia Giulia, is all the way in the northeastern part of Italy. And the difference between the two, of both being of excellent quality, using the best of raw materials, natural, only pork, salt, and time and air. The difference is the environment.
Just changes the
The
flavor.
change of environment changes the characteristic. This is, this town of San Daniele is centered right between the end of the Adriatic Sea and the beginning of the Alpine region's mountains. So you'll get that warm, humid air rising from the Adriatic and that cold, dry air descending
From the mountains.
from the mountains, funneling in that town. And that's where this prosciutto San Daniele gets its characteristic. And you could see, I brought some San Daniele prosciutto, how very pink in color this prosciutto is.
And that pinkness makes it look so fresh.
It needs to be freshly sliced.
Yes.
And I often say, you know, prosciutto is one food that we are allowed to eat with our fingers, aside from chicken.
Yes.
And when it's thinly sliced like this, sometimes it's a little difficult to pick up, but just be a little patient,
But you'll get it.
and we'll be able to get
And
it,
that
right?
the reason it does that is because it is so thinly sliced. And
Thinly sliced that you'd want to have it transparent. You know, down in Puglia, they have it sometimes cut in a julienne style. Take your slice of prosciutto, smell the aroma. You're smelling the environment
The
of San
climate
Daniele,
and
the
the-
climate,
the way the
wonderful
pigs are fed.
The feed of the pigs is so important. But not only that, how the pigs are treated. In Italy, they treat the pigs almost like they treat children. They care for them. They come to you like puppy dogs. And in your case, stress-free cooking, these are stress-free pigs. These pigs are given a wonderful life, and in turn, they return themselves in this wonderful cured ham called prosciutto
And it is
crudo
beautiful.
San Daniele.
And also, you can see through it
Sliced very,
if
very
it's
thin.
sliced thin, right?
Yes.
If it's sliced
Needs
properly.
to be sliced thin, and it needs to be sliced proper on the proper grain.
Yes, it's gorgeous. Well, I think, Lou, you probably want to taste on
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah.
And I have a little taste here.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells wonderful.
And it almost melts in your mouth.
Mm.
You hardly have to chew it. That's good prosciutto. And that's when it comes from the fact that the animals are not stressed. Very important to know.
How about the aging process?
The aging? It's a minimum of 14 months. But most of the prosciutto that we get here in the United States is aged 18 to 20 months. And it's well seasoned with just some salt, as you could see, lightly salted, and from the environment, the air. That's it.
You know, I think one of the most interesting things was when I was visiting San Daniele, we went to visit one of the producers of the prosciutto, and they talked to us about testing for doneness with the horsehair, with the
The
horse
horse
bone.
That's right. The bone comes from the back of the horse's leg, and it seems to keep the aroma for a longer period of time. And someone with a very, very sensitive nose will go through hundreds of prosciutto a day, sticking the bone. You know, I could demonstrate it here in this this Parma prosciutto. Right over here, there's a little nerve. That's right here, that they stick the bone in and pull it right to their nose. And they can tell right away if
Immediately.
it cured properly
Right.
or if there was some defect in the prosciutto. And that's one of the keys for Italian products is the consistency of quality. They'll make sure that they will not sell this prosciutto di Parma or prosciutto San Daniele unless it's absolutely passed so many different tests,
So
including that horse bone. The traditional ancient method.
And I loved seeing him do that. It was just there was such a finesse
And did
about
you notice
that.
the size of his nose too? Most of those inspectors, they have a very unusual nose that has a little hook in it, and it seems to
That I
catch
don't
the aroma.
remember.
but they do. And it's so often done even with cheese. They'll have a special rod. In the case of Parmigiano, sometimes they'll stick it into the center of the Parmigiano and pull it out.
And it's so nice to see that. It's almost like a symphony.
Yes.
But now now that I've learned so much about prosciutto and I know what to look for, how will I know I'm getting an authentic prosciutto when I'm at my store?
Well, in the case of prosciutto di Parma, first of all, you'd want to go to a place that you have confidence in with their integrity. But you can examine the prosciutto itself. Prosciutto di Parma, right here, will have a crown with the name Parma written right on it. And in the case of prosciutto San Daniele, if I could get
Can
this.
you reach that?
Yes. you can turn it around, and on the top, where the shank is, you'll see it says SD San Daniele. This stamp is registered trademark, and that stamp a registered trademark for only prosciutto San Daniele, prosciutto di Parma. Also, a key, and you'll notice most of the products that I brought today will have this symbol on it.
The yellow
These-
and red.
Yes, it doesn't necessarily have to be this color, but it has to be this similar. And it could mean a couple of different things. In the case of prosciutto San Daniele Parma, it's what we say in Italian, DOP, or it's a product of protection, a
Right.
domain product of protection.
But
of
it also
origin.
means it's produced in a certain way.
A certain way in a certain area.
Yes.
Okay, and this is so important to see, and most of the products you can see we brought today. This is another cheese that comes from the same area as the prosciutto San Daniele, also in parts of the Veneto and Friuli Venezia Giulia. This is cheese called Montasio, and you can see right here they have the same seal.
Yes.
Okay, it's a different color, but it's the
Right.
same seal, and this is a product that's protected of origin, and it's only produced in a small area of the Veneto and parts of Friuli Venezia Giulia. Montasio is a cheese from the family we call Lattaria. Lattaria has other cheeses such as Spilimbergo, also in Friuli, or Piave up in the mountains of
Oh, I love
Belluno-
Piave. It's one of my
Belluno.
favorites. It's a nice, sharp, nutty cheese.
But yeah, yes, and but it has almost a hazelnut quality to it. I would say. And that comes,
delicious.
and what makes that special is the milk from free grazing mountain cows from a specific area, and that's the key to most of the products you see over here from Italy. And for instance, this cheese here, Pecorino Toscano. This is another cheese, also with the seal. Pecorino Toscano has that wonderful little bite to it. It happens to be a stagionato, which means it's aged minimum of 6 months, and comes from the hills of Mugello. If anybody knows where Mugello is, it's just north of Florence.
Ah.
And Mugello is where the Medicis had their summer house. And you know what happened? When the Borgheses from Rome came over, they took over that house and they made it Roman style. And
Borgheses didn't like it.
the Borghese, the Medicis were no longer, but the Florentines, the people from Florence, Tuscany, till this day, are angry that there's too much Roman influence in that the Medici summer
Well,
home.
and I
They
think
remember it.
that brings up a good point too. I think also all of the tradition here in these products, and
It's so much. And it doesn't only mean with cheese or cured meats. Something like this rice. Rice is called Violone Nano. Violone Nano rice is famous in the Veneto area.
which
near
I would
Verona.
say is the highest quality rice you can buy for risotto.
Well, you know, I like to say that the rices of Italy vary. We have many different varieties. The most common, of course, is the arborio.
Arborio. Agnello, what is your favorite rice for risotto?
Well, Canaroli, I like it very much, and I am from Naples, so we used to have this kind of rice for a special recipe that we call sartou. Is from the French domination Naples had, and it's a good remembrance of
It is,
it.
and I
And
think
then, of course, we have the risotto with fish. That is something very typical of Naples area, and we have risotto all over Italy, of course.
well, I think the fish influence definitely is nice in Naples because it's on the coast,
Yes.
and
yes.
so there's some wonderful fish dishes there.
Yeah, not only in Naples, but all around. I mean, the seaside area in Italy, we have a different kind of risotto with different kind of fish, and each one say that its own is the best, of course.
Of course.
Dr. Mosella, one of my favorite dishes from the Campania area, specifically around Naples, is the pasta pacori.
Ah,
And I love this with fruta di mare.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pacori
It reminds
con
me
frutta di
many amazing moments, I think, in Italy.
And
In
you know-
Costiera Amalfitana.
Yes, and you want to know? And today I brought the wine from the coast of Amalfi.
Oh, it's amazing.
From the town of Tremonte, which is a mountain town right next to Ravello that sits above, right above Amalfi, the town of Amalfi. And